you are probably carrying more mental load than you even realize. Is your family unwilling to help? Or might the problem be that nobody truly owns the tasks that you're hoping gets done? Are you a mom who dreams of that homestead life you see on Instagram, who feels called to Christian homemaking? You feel like you'd need an extra 12 hours in your day, along with another set of hands, just to make your home work the way you know it could. Welcome to Simply Living Homestead. I'm Amanda Carlin, wife, mama, homemaker, and milkmaid. I've learned the secret to simplifying my time and homestead so my homemaking supports my family instead of exhausting me, and it makes room for the moments that truly matter. If you're ready to get time back in your day, manage your home with confidence, grow in your homesteading skills, and train your children in the way they should go, grab your pitchfork and planner, friend. Let's get to work. Before we jump into today's episode, I want to quickly tell you about something I offer called Homestead Systems Mentorship. If you constantly feel like you're carrying the entire mental load of your home and homestead, if you know your family needs better rhythms, routines, and systems, but you have no idea where to even start, this mentorship is created for you. Inside, I help Christian homemakers build simple, realistic systems that actually work for their seasons of life. Things like daily rhythms, task delegation, home organization, routines, and reducing overwhelm without striving for perfection. Because the goal is not just getting more done, the goal is creating a peaceful home that supports your family instead of exhausting you. So if you're ready for personalized help creating systems that fit your home, your family, and your homestead, you can learn more at simplylivinghomestead.com/coaching or using the link below. Welcome back to the homestead. Today, we're talking about taking ownership of tasks instead of just assigning chores, how to create rhythms where our family actually helps carry the weight of the home, and why this decreases the mental clutter and decision fatigue of mothers. It's been a couple of years since I heard the concept of task delegation, and this all started in our own family with implementing delegated ownership with my husband, Jonathan. The difference between helping me versus this belongs to you can make all the difference to whether something is taking up space in your brain or not. There was a huge mental relief because I stopped carrying every reminder in my head. How did I do this? Jonathan took the tasks. They became his. He claimed ownership of certain tasks. And then I claimed complete ownership of certain tasks. And now neither one of us feels like we have to constantly be checking in on the other or thinking about all of the tasks that need to be done in the home simply because we know that they belong to the other person. Now, does this stop us from checking in if something hasn't been completed or just making sure that things are continuing to work the way that they should? No, we're absolutely going to do that. But it has reduced a number of the things that I have to think about in the day, because I have a lot of things to think about, and I'm sure you do too. When my husband knows the things that are his responsibility, and they're not just the things that usually fall onto the man's plate. Jonathan and I have chose to take a approach to the home where we're both adults and we both live in this house, and so we're both going to do tasks to make sure that the family operates. And I believe this should apply directly to children as well. So now that we've kind of figured out what's working really well for us, which tasks, daily tasks, weekly tasks, things that need to be done on a regular basis that require mental load, dishes, laundry, picking up the rooms, cooking food, bedtime routines, all these different things, right, that you have to think about on a regular basis. Yes, there are things that have to be done monthly or maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, and those things deserve delegation too. But a lot of times, the jobs that are considered a man's job often fall into that occasional category, and then the women can kind of really feel resentful because you're not holding a fair amount of work. especially if both of you are putting in time outside of the home, or one of you maybe is home, like taking care of the kids, but you're also trying to put in time for an employer or something. It is something where it's at least something that you should discuss rather than just assuming that everything, belongs to one person. But this episode is really more about teaching it to our children, because when we operate on the belief that the home is designed for everyone in it and that everyone in it should be contributing to the family, then we have to take on the task of realizing that our children are far more capable than we often give them credit for, and starting to teach them the responsibility of ownership of specific tasks, so that these tasks can be taught and done consistently, so that as they get a little bit older and they get, more brain power in their brain. I'm not sure how to say that. My brain power isn't working super great today, I guess. It's all right. As we're working through that, and they do it more and more, you have to check in on them less. Now, they're still your kids, and you're definitely going to still have to check in on them, but it is one less thing that you have to do all of the work for and do all the mental labor for. So let's get into today's episode with our main nugget. Our main takeaway today is a peaceful home is built when everyone carries ownership, not just when one person carries everything and then tries to, manage it all out. So how do we teach this to our children? Well, you're going to start smaller than you think. You're not going to hand over 10 responsibilities at once. You're not going to go, all right, kids, so today we've decided that you guys are going to do these things and go do them. That's never going to work, and it's always going to result in failure. But not starting at all is not going to be a good thing. Starting way too small probably isn't going to get you anywhere. So you do have to find this sweet spot, but genuinely, one repeatable task is going to be a good thing. So you're going to pick one repeatable task per child, and you want to match that task to their age and ability, but don't underestimate their capability. My 5-year-old can do a lot of things. He wants me to believe he can't because he doesn't want to, but he is very capable of doing a lot of things, but he can't do a lot of steps. So he's getting to the place where he physically can carry things, but he can't do a task that has 6 steps. That's too much for him, unless I was to maybe give him the first 3 steps and then I finish the rest, or I work with him on the rest, and then we can kind of build up to that many steps. So you have to kind of think through what task you might be delegating out. Success is going to build that the confidence, and the repetition is going to build confidence. So depending on how old your children is, some things you can start with is they can feed the animals, like the cats, or one animal. They're not going to feed every animal. If you have a homestead and you got a bunch of animals, that's not a good spot to start, right? But you can say you're going to feed the chickens, or you're going to feed the cats. They can gather eggs. They can take out the trash. That's going to be something that maybe doesn't get done every day. But that is their task, that, on this day, you're going to go around and you're going to grab all the bags and you're going to bring them here, right? And that's the steps. You're going to go to every trash can and you're going to bring the bag inside the trash can here. And then you kind of the first couple of times, you're going to work with them like this. Here's the trash can. Here's the trash can. Here's the trash can. This is how you take it out. This is where we drop it in to the big trash can or something. And then this is how we put the bag back in. And especially if you're using a lot of our small trash cans around our house, we use grocery bags as the bag liner. Especially if you're using something like that, it's really easy for a kid to push it in, right? Maybe they can fill water bottles every single morning before everybody heads out for the day. Definitely include them in the evening pickup routine, where one of the tasks inside that belongs to them. And it's going to belong to them for a long time. It's not something where you're going to just, well, tonight you're going to do this and tomorrow night you're going to do that. So point 2 is the repetition is extremely important, and the rhythms matter a lot more than motivation. Your family is going to thrive on these predictable routines. They're going to know when these things are coming up, and it's going to help them feel comfortable being able to actually execute them. Somewhere along the line, you learned how to do these things. And it is possible for your family to also learn how to do these things. Having tasks tied to time cues are easier to remember. After dinner, we feed the animals. Before bed, we reset the living room. Essentially, this is really important for neurodivergent families. Our family has a lot of squirrel brains in it, where it's very easy for us to get distracted. We start loading the laundry, and then, something in the laundry reminded us that, we had to pull trash out of the pockets, and so then we had to throw the trash away, and as we're throwing the trash away from the pockets of the laundry that we were trying to do, we realized the trash needed to be taken out, and as we're taking the trash out, we see that the toys are still in the lawn. And all of a sudden, none of the tasks got done. However, if you can split up these tasks, and your job is to make sure there's a load of laundry running before you go to bed. Okay, that's your task. And then this child's task over here, or this adult's task over here, whoever is being assigned it's to gather the trash every night. And this one's to pick up the living room. And this one, or if it's a big task, like all the toys that you played with in the lawn needs to be made sure that it's put in the garage, maybe that's all the kids. That is their job and their responsibility, that everybody's going to work together to get that done. But having this consistency is going to help reduce that, I forgot, that often happens with families. I forgot to feed the kitties. And we always feed the kitties before we have our own supper, or we always feed the kitties immediately after we're done with our food. Picking something that you can tie that routine to, and then again, keep this predictable, keep this they're going to do this task over and over and over again until they can do it really well. And at first you're going to have to check in on them and work with them and teach them through it. And this is how you do it. And you might have to do that several times. And then you can step back a little bit and go, okay, I'm watching. I'm here if you need help, but you're going to do it. And that's going to happen a few times. And then you can switch into this mode of there to report back to you, because you've set up this routine and this rhythm. So now they know how and where the thing is supposed to take place. They know when the thing is supposed to take place. So now you can step into this reporting where they are to go do their job. And when they come back, they need to give you a detailed explanation of what they did. And for our family, I don't want I fed the chickens. No, I want I took 2 buckets of feed into the chicken yard for the chickens, right? Because I want to make sure the chickens got enough food. And if they can repeat back to me, I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this, and the older they are, the more steps each of their tasks realistically is probably going to have. It also helps them learn this responsibility and this ownership of that task, because they have to remember what steps these things take place in. And so when you call upon them to tell you what they did, and again, this act of telling them how you want them to report to you you're going to have to teach them how to say that, right? And you can start that from the very beginning, where you're like, okay, so we did these things and you got all the way done. So you do all the things, you walk them through, this is how we do this task. And you get to the end and then you go, now you're going to tell mommy what we did. And then you walk them through. You say, so you repeat after me, especially if they're really little. If they're 10, maybe don't do that. But like, again, you're going to teach them how you want them, even if they're 10, even if they're starting to get into that very opinionated stage, right? You're going to teach them how you want them to report to you. So, and you are going to model it. So modeling responsibility, modeling these things. So you're going to say, you got done with your task and you're going to come and you're going to talk to me and you're going to say something like this. I went into the chicken yard and I made sure that no chickens were in the yard, and I closed the chicken door, and I went around and I put the brick up, and then I made sure that the chicken door was latched and the light was shut off. Okay? Those are all the steps that are required to shut in our chickens at night. Now, if I was listening to the child say that and they didn't say anything about the light, I'd be, well, did you shut off the light? Oh yeah, I did. I shut off the light. Okay, that needs to be in your report because it's important the light gets shut off. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and tell me the report with that included. And they have to repeat it. And as you work through that, they will learn how you want them reported, and it will help jog their memory like, oh no, I didn't shut off the light. Okay, well, that is part of the job. So go ahead and go get finished. And back out they have to go. So the last thing I wanted to bring up with this is teaching the natural consequences that teach responsibility. Ownership grows when the results are visible, right? So feeding the cats, for example, if that task isn't done, the cats are going to cry. They're going to be up at the front door. Ours are in the barn, which is why I say they're at the front door. And they're going to be like begging for food if that task hasn't happened. So when something like that has failed, well, that task still has to happen. And inconvenience can become the teacher then. So we're not punishing with like a punishment that whatever you think of when you hear that word punishment, this isn't a punishment. This is a consequence that the avoidance of the task caused. You now have to get out of your bed and put on your boots and go out and feed the cats in the dark. That's not going to be fun for a lot of kids, and it's probably not going to happen too many times, and they're going to remember that this is when they have to do the task. And this isn't done with like yelling or getting upset. It's just a natural consequence that is going to teach that responsibility and creating awareness and empathy. So as the parent, you are still the manager, and the supervision comes before total independence. And if they're still under your house, they're still your animals. They're still your home. They're still all of these things. You have to still be taking care of it, but that mental load can really decrease as you start delegating these things out to your family and as your family starts aging up. If you still have really tiny children, they're going to probably have to work right beside you. But as they get older, they're going to be able to take some of those tasks, and you're going to be able to devote that energy into that training of your children and creating that legacy for your family. You don't have to carry every responsibility alone, and the steps outlined in this episode hopefully has shown you some of the ways that you can create long-term peace for the whole family. Remember, training takes repetition, reminders are normal, and consistency matters more than perfection. So our one action step for today is, if you have kids, one for every one of your kids. If it's just you and your husband, I encourage you to have this conversation about caring for the responsibilities of your family, even if it's just the two of you, on what this looks like for your family. And then you're going to delegate one daily task to every family member, and you're going to make sure you have it tied to something that's going to help them remember when this is supposed to take place, and then you're going to practice it together. every single day. Every single time it has to happen. You're going to practice it together until you can step back. And then you can let them do it while you're observing. And then after a bit, you can let them do it without you observing, and then having them come in and report to you on what happened. And this, once they have gotten that down, that is when you can add another task. So our action step is, I encourage you to go home and do this. I encourage you to stop whatever you're listening to right now and just think about how you can get your family more involved with the family and the home and all of these sorts of things. If you would like some accountability with this, then go share this inside the community group. What task you're delegating, who received it, how it's going so far, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. If you want some accountability to making sure that your family, like, that you can stay on top of this training for your family, you can absolutely come share that inside the community group, and we would love to help you through that and make sure that you can, work with your family the way that you are hoping to build. As a final recap, delegation is not just assigning chores. Ownership reduces mental load and overwhelm. The rhythms and consistencies help families succeed. You are building a home where everyone contributes, and having these small, repeatable habits can create long-term peace. As a reminder, we have the Homestead Systems Coaching. If this all sounds super great to you, but you don't really know where to start, you can absolutely check out the link below for more information on that. It is one-on-one, it is private, and you'll have all of your notes sent to you and all the great things so that you can have the best foot forward in maximizing the impact that you have on your family and those around you. Until next week, friend, I hope you have a fabulous day. Hey neighbor, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share this episode with a friend who is knee-deep in their own homestead? Also, please leave me a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts. It thrills me to know that this podcast is helping you. Keep watching those sunsets, friend. I'll meet you back here on the homestead soon for another episode. See ya!